those of you who had seen, I'm the confidence and personal resuscitation life coach. I know some of you are running with the CPR. So I am here tonight to help some ladies get their life back. Because again, some of them have never said it before, and then there are some of you out there that what they have to say will help you. So I know they talked a little bit about themselves, but they didn't really say exactly what their rebranding was. I think maybe one person really gave it, or really said it a little bit, because her story is so deep. So I want to go and I want to just give us like 1 minute. Tell us why you're here tonight, and in like 3 words, what is your rebrand? What is your rebrand story?
So I'm here tonight because my passion is empowering women, and I know that a lot of times, a lot of us don't have the voice to give our stories, but hearing our stories sometimes can free others. And so I'm here to give my story and to empower whoever needs it to know that if I can do it, you can do it. The 3 words that I think I'd use to describe my rebrand would definitely be economic empowerment. I don't think you can do anything without it. I definitely would say movement. You're stagnant, you're not growing, you're dying. And I would definitely say the 3rd thing would be just authenticity. Authenticity. Until you can stand in your own truth, wherever it is and wherever you're right now, you really cannot create a better future for yourself.
I'm here tonight basically to share my story, and that is basically to let any one of you all that's here in the room to understand that in life happens. We have hiccups, and it's all about letting go and releasing whatever it is that has hold you and have you hindrance. And in order to do that, you have to, my mantra that I live by daily is the fact of being authentic, first and foremost to yourself, and not wanting the approval of anybody in the room or wherever you may share the space. And you also have to make sure that your cognition every day, you're allowing that toxicity to leave your space. And even though we're human beings, of course it's going to happen, but I'm here tonight to say as well, when you have those toxicity, you give it 5 to 15 minutes and eliminate it. So that would be my second word for tonight, being able to live and be authentic and make sure that you're actually living in your authentic you and never want anybody else's approval, because the only approval you need is when you look in the mirror at yourself, you say to yourself, I am who I am, and I am beyond incredible, and I am beyond greatness.
All right. The 3 words that I'm thinking about being here tonight, my rebrand, right, is kingdom building, purpose, and mission. If you don't know what your purpose is, then you won't know what your mission is. And your mission should always be kingdom building. And so tonight, I just thank you for allowing me to come in here and just be a part of all of this greatness, this has the greatness. I just thank God for this. When you have been through some things, it's not for you. You can't take stuff personal, and you have to understand that you have a testimony now, and it's your job to share it and give somebody else hope. I was going to say a 4th word, hope. But hope is really important, and I know that rebranding is going to give somebody hope, and I'm just hoping that y'all get everything y'all can out of tonight.
All right.
Definitely authenticity, without a doubt. If you are not true to yourself, how can you be true to anybody else? If you don't have something, how can you give it to anybody else? But my biggest one is transformation. Transformation and change. It's inevitable. Change is something that's going to happen to you whether you like it or not. So you must be flexible enough to endure change embrace it and understand that you're going through a process of evolution that will get you to who you were meant to be. And everything, every experience that you've gone through, the path that you've taken, that the Creator put you here for, every experience that you've gone through is to get you to that place where you were created to be. So embrace it, transformation, change, and flexibility. And hey, surrender.
That's a good one.
Okay? God's will is God's will. And until you're willing to surrender to His will, you're going to be meeting those roadblocks and you're going to be pausing to wonder what's going on. When you surrender and you allow the Creator to do what He created you to do, you'll experience it.
I want to say one of my words is love. You have to have, you have to love yourself first before you can take on children, a relationship, because you'll lose yourself quickly trying to please people. And my next word, one of them was, being authentic, real, keep just being yourself, not trying to keep up with the next person. Because once again, you'll find yourself losing yourself again. You're not living your truth. I'm so shy. And I'm kind of still thinking, but
And it doesn't have to be free.
I wish we would have got some great questions.
That's why I did, because I wanted it to be like this. I wanted it, that's a part of being authentic. Because the women in the room who are watching you and listening to you, that's what they want. If a woman was to walk up to you, or you see someone somewhere, and God say, don't talk to that woman. Canvas out with our words. Stay ready. You never know. So that's the authentic part of you coming out tonight.
And I, with my experience, I want to say, favor, God's grace and His mercy, it kept me for so long, but, I'm not going to get into this.
People who've gone through what I've gone through. My 3 words would be destiny, because I am the destiny transformer, and I wholeheartedly believe that you go through things in life in order to accomplish your destiny, and I'm a believer that you should dominate your destiny. God put purpose in you, and it wasn't just for you to walk in it; it's for you to take control over it and dominate it. The next word would be overcomer. Life happens all the time. Tracy mentioned it earlier, and it's not easy out here. It's not easy being a woman. It's not easy being a black woman. It's not easy being a black man or any type of person. And so life just happens. And there's something that you're going to have to overcome every step of the way. And the way that you can overcome it, I believe, is through faith. Because God continues to move you and push you and encourage you through everything that you go through. So my second word is definitely overcomer. And I'm going to steal your word. My third word is love. Because you have to overcome and dominate with love. We can get out here and sometimes some people will use the use of destiny as in arrogance. But you have to do everything within love, and I believe it's you have to operate in love in order to encourage and bring other people along with you.
Wow. For me, my rebranding was understanding that I had 2 sets of eyes paying attention to the steps that I was taking, and 1 set of eyes was a daughter. And being a mother, you have to understand that your daughter watches and emulates what you do. So you have to walk as the type of woman you want your daughter to be and the type of woman that you want your son to be with. So I have the best of both worlds. I have to be a woman in front of my daughter and the type of woman that I want my son to be with. You know, so I had to pay attention to the words that I said. I was, like I said, I'm not gonna go in my story yet, but I had to recognize what I was doing. So for me, that was my first thing, was recognition and realizing where you are right now and understanding your surroundings and how you are the beholder of the change that you need to take, because no one can change you if you're not willing to do it. So I had to position myself. That's my second word. Pay attention to your position, because it plays a major role in where your life goes. So you need to recognize yourself, understand your position, and then you have to conquer where you are. So when you conquer what you're going through and you put it in your mind and say, if I can make it through that massacre, if I can make it through this bloody, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual murder, then I can come out of anything. So those are my words for myself, was recognition, position, and conquer.
Okay, so ladies, so tell us in a few words, because we have, a few of you, quite a few of you up here. Tell us in a few words, if somebody were to say to you, what is the name of your rebrand? When a person see you, what is the word that they would see or would have seen on you from here, the black and white, to the color you?
If I had my book in my hand, because the title of my book is what people have actually said to me. How did you get here? How did you get here? Because I knew you when you were there. So how did you get right here? And that opens a floodgate of a whole conversation.
And what I want y'all to do with this part is actually tell us if it was divorce, if it was you losing weight, if it was you getting your mind back together, whatever it is, in a compact way as you can, but still making an impact on the people that are listening to you.
Okay. I'll sum it up in a few points. Teenage mother at 16. Father of a child that denied the child. Didn't want anything to do with it. Found out when I was 5 months pregnant at 16, he already had 2 children. Unbeknownst to me. Finished high school because I was forced to. As a 16-year-old, you have no say-so in your mama's house about what you can and can't do. So I had to go finish that. Didn't go to college. Met someone. Moved to a whole other city by myself. No family. Was with that person for 10 years. Got married. Had another child. Got divorced. Was physically abused. Mentally abused. Emotionally abused. Got divorced. Found out I was being cheated on my entire marriage. Gained weight. Fell out of love with myself. But I had to rediscover what love was, because I lost the whole definition of what it meant. I lost who I was. I was mean to my children. I felt like if my children were gone, I would have been a whole lot better, because I could have kept my anger to myself, and it wouldn't have tarnished a relationship that I had to rebuild with my children. So I had to rebuild a relationship with me, rebuild a relationship as a mother, learn how to love me, learn how to date myself in order for me to appreciate and understand what someone was bringing to my table. Because if you're gonna come to my table, don't just come with your fork and your spoon. you're gonna have to bring some groceries. So, you know, as I said, I gained weight, so I like to eat. Once I love once I fell in love with her, you have to be careful what you bring to me. And I had to be careful what I let into my ear gates. Because somebody will come to you, girl, you can't do this, girl, you can't do that. And when you have a whole bunch of negativity around you, you have to put yourself in solitude and silence everything around you. And when you can understand how to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet and let God talk to you, it blocks everything that's trying to stop you. But you also got to realize that sometimes you think the devil is doing so much to you. Why you let the devil just come in here and wreak havoc? Sometimes God lets the devil come and wreak havoc on your life so you can understand who God is and what level of faith you have. Because I was just reading Job. God asked the devil, have you tried my servant Job? Knowing who Job was. And no matter, Job lost all his children. He had a wife was like, won't you curse God and die? And just keep it moving. And Job still had faith and trusted in God and believed who God was. So when you understand your level of faith, the devil can't do nothing to you.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That was powerful.
I'm
encouraged. So I'm here because 2008, I helped my sister transition as a result of breast cancer. 2010, I walked the second sister as she transitioned as a result of breast cancer. 2012, I gave birth at 6 months. And for 30 days, watched my daughter who transitioned. And then 2014, I walked my stepsister through cancer as she transitioned. So back to back to back to back, I was grief stricken. And that's every time you look at me, all you saw was grief and pain and suffering. And as a result of that, I was so angry with God. I was angry, and when I lost my daughter, I went through a period of time where I just said, I'm through with you. I literally broke up with God, and I told him he wasn't getting my heart again. And I had to realize that out of everything that I have gone through, I was mad at God. I didn't grieve through any of that. All of my anger was with God. And then I had to just learn and rebuild and rebrand myself and rebuild my relationship with him. And so as a result, my faith is stronger now. I mean, nothing can break it. Because, he showed me through each and every incident in my life that he sent somebody there to speak life into me. When I was in the hospital, he sent nurses to bathe me. When I was in the hospital taking care of my sister, he sent everybody there to feed us, talk to us, encourage us, pray with us. My bills were taken care of, everything. One day I buried my daughter. One day I got a $120,000 bill. 2 days later, and 6 weeks later, it was completely erased. And so he sent people there, and he comforted me, and he kept me. And so on the other side of grief is what you have now. Somebody who is full of joy and peace and faith. Unmovable faith, because he walked me through every step of the way. And I can encourage you and let you know that grief does not have to take you down. Grief does not have to take your mind, because it tried to take mine. Grief does not have to take your relationships, because it tries to take mine. And grief does not have to take your faith at all.
My
story is, I went through a depression. I got married young. I got involved, I was 16 years old. I got involved with someone that was 12 years older than me, who I thought loved me. And I was brought up in the church, and I grew up in a 2-parent household, so all I knew was love. And I saw how my dad treated my mom, and I wanted that for myself. So my dad was military, so he stayed away around 2001 when the Iraqi war and stuff came out. So I was in my teenage phase, and I've always been a hard worker, so I wanted to work and make my own money. I didn't want anybody to have to give anything to me, but I was preyed on. And like I said, within a year of being involved in that, I was mentally abused, physically abused, and I felt like I was bullied to marry him because I guess he saw something in me that I had already seen in myself, that I was a young lady on the move doing things. So I guess he wanted that, and he wanted that control over me too. But I thought my first way out was when I first got pregnant at 17. I didn't even know I was pregnant dealing with him, but he knew what he was doing. But at the same time, I had a miscarriage. We got married, and I had a miscarriage 2 weeks after we got married. I felt like that was my way out then, but I stayed in that for about 12 years. He had broke my spirit. I mean, it was just so much. He had broke my spirit. He left me broken, and I fell into a depression. My daughter, children are blessings. He had this, it's crazy, and I haven't relived this in a minute, but I was in a depression for about a good 30 days. All I would do was wake up and just drink and go straight to the bathroom. I was like an autopilot, get my kids food and go right back to bed. I had lost like 15 pounds. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, she was about 6 years old, and she was like, "Mommy, what's wrong? We don't do anything no more. We're not, you're not taking us places. She's like, you're changing." She's like, "Mommy, are you dying?" And I'm like, and I had just had a dream probably 2 weeks before that I had heart problems and I was gonna die at an early age. So that right there was my moment. Like, I gotta wake up. I gotta come out of this. I had children to live for, and she was crying. She was 6 years old. She was crying. She knew everything that her dad had took me through, but I was like bitter, angry. I had lost my faith. I stopped going to church. Stopped listening to the gospel station. I shut out, a lot of that. But like I said, my daughter was a blessing to me. When she said that, it shook me. It like awakened something in me that I have to keep pressing, keep moving forward. When you think children aren't watching and they're not picking up on, because I didn't want them to be tainted from a lot of things, but they seen stuff. They seen the hollering and screaming, the police always at the house every other week because the neighbors are calling. But that was my moment. I started thinking, like, what is it that I need to do? I started getting up, started back cleaning. I had stopped cleaning. My house started falling apart. I just started picking myself back up. I started listening to my music. I remember it was a song, Tasha Cobb's, For Your Glory. And it had hit me. And I just, I fell apart in the kitchen, and I was like, this ain't me. I gotta get back in school because it's something I wanted to do. He was one that he wanted to control me, that he didn't want me to go back to school and be a nurse. And I was just, from that moment, I started building myself back up and working and doing things with my girls. getting back in his word and, you know, as best as I could, because it was hard for a minute. But my word would be life, because I felt at one point that I was just dead, you know. And then you'll go to work and people look at you and think that you know, you're just as happy and everything. I was a, you know, excellent caregiver. The older people loved me. And I'm like, you know, that helped build my confidence back up, because when you have them tell you every day, you know, you're so good to me, you have a good heart, baby, you know. It was just every day. I had a friend drop off money to me one time because I had gotten to the point, you know, when I was missing days from work, I had fell behind on things. It was, you know, but like I said, God favored me. He showed His grace and His mercy in my life, but and still things I still struggle with now, but I'm moving forward. I'm picking myself back up. I can't.
Sometimes when you're in that place where you watch a divorced mom, who is your mom, be a single mom on her own without support, you become, it molds you into being a certain type of a person. And you think you're okay until you're faced with your own codependency, until you're faced with your own ideals of what you thought was okay, but then you discover it really isn't. I got married early in my 20s. I always sort of had guidance, or was aware of my guidance. I grew up in a Christian home, even though it was a single parent home, and there were just some ideals that I had. So when I got married to a man who was from a home with a mom and a dad. And I thought that because he had that experience with both parents there, perhaps he could provide that little perfection that we kind of see when we see a whole home. Sometimes we don't understand, even with two people there, it isn't necessarily a home. And then you discover I discovered on my journey that I was a codependent. I didn't even know what it meant until I started to go through some experiences and started to explore, why is this happening? I feel like I'm this bubbly person and I bring life. Why can't you give me that back? Rather than feel like somebody is draining life out of you. And I got to the point where I felt like I am going to die if I stay here. I'm going to die. I'm going to lose who I am if I stay here. I stayed married for 13 years. I have 3 boys. And one of the reasons I stayed that long is because of those 3 boys. I thought to myself, now you lived your entire life without your daddy. Certainly you're not about to put these boys through that. But then I discovered, if you do that, they lose you. Wow. What will their life be like if they lose you? And is this the example of a family that you want them to have? And so I made the decision that no, I was not going to stay here and die. I'd rather swim on my own. And so I made that decision with prayer. Now, along that path, I discovered, because I'm thinking to myself, we're taught these Christian values. We're taught this is the way things should be. This is the way you should think. This is the way you should be going. Why isn't this working? And so for me, I started to explore, why do I believe the things that I believe? Just because my mother told me? Just because a pastor said so? Just because a religion said so? Why do I believe the things that I believe? And so I started to explore. And let me tell you something. I discovered God to be so big and that He doesn't sit in any one of our boxes. And He doesn't fit into any of our molds. Because He created variety. Because He's a creative God. And so when I found myself looking at myself in the mirror and asking, who did He create you to be? Now, one of the things I discovered is that He created you to be authentically you. You didn't have to answer to anybody. You didn't have to listen, compliments, no compliments. You know, you give, you don't give. Who are you? When you show up, when you leave, what do people get from you? What is your service to mankind? And so in the process of discovering that, I have to tell you, bliss is a beautiful thing. When you come to understand you are imperfectly perfect, in God's eyes, regardless of your imperfections, regardless of what has happened in your path, regardless of the background, because you know your parents only do what they know, just like we do what we know. So in seeking, in trying to understand who I am, I discovered that it's okay to allow other people to be themselves too. To accept people and love them for who they are. And understand that they have a right to every decision, every path, everything that they go through, how they choose to handle it. They have a right to do so. And in that place, I am where I am, transformed and blessed.
Amen. Is this helping everybody?
That blessed me. My word for my rebrand would be prodigal. Prodigal daughter. I'm not a guy, so I can't be a prodigal son. But the prodigal son was estranged from his home, but he was also welcomed back by his father. He was estranged, he had been on the road away, he had went astray. And then while he was astray, he felt as if he could not come back. And then he just some kind of way crawled back and was welcomed back. So my story is, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a dancer. And then I grew up. I was 18 and I became a dancer at a club. And I was making money. I used to make money at all the parties, you know, and in dance contests and stuff like that. And so when I would hear that I could win $500 prize on the radio, I was like, I mean, I win, that's what I do. I mean, where do I go? So I went, and then I saw that basically everybody made money. It wasn't a contest, and I was sucked in immediately. I was excited, I was living my dream, but it turned into a nightmare. Because as an 18-year-old child, in a place, in a dungeon, which is a strip club, I started to see things that affected me. It made me take on things that weren't me. When you're in an environment, you get a certain reputation because of your environment. When you're a lawyer, they say, oh, you're one of them lying lawyers, right? So, you know, being a dancer, you know, when you see people do certain things, you know that that's what people think about you, even though you're not doing it. And so, I had a few nervous breakdowns. I'm gonna cut this story short. And I just started to know that, first of all, I grew up in church. I was baptized when I was 7. My mama told me when I was 12. I was responsible for my own sins. She whooped me all the way till probably last week. But, you know, but she said, look, if you're doing something and I don't know what you're doing, just know that God can see you. He always see you. And He will whoop you too if I can't get to you. So I knew right from wrong. I was taught that there was consequences for my actions. I wasn't the young person that said, oh, it ain't gonna be me. I'm like, what is it? Let me make sure I don't do it. You know, that was me. And so me being in that environment, it was really scary for me to be around drugs and alcohol and promiscuity and then propositions. If you have never come face to face with the devil, that means y'all going in the same direction. If you have never come in front of the enemy and feel like you're facing the devil, check your life. So when I hear people say, oh my God, them dances, I'm like, what have you been through? You haven't been through that. But see, the thing about it is, me going through that and coming out of it lets me know my level of temptation. It taught me a lot about myself spiritually. Because when I had my breakdown, I knew to go back to God.
Yes.
And I quit going to work cold turkey. I was like, I can't go back in there. I made it home. I was like, you know what? I feel like if I go back, I'm going to die. Because they shooting people, they killing people, they raping people, they following people home and robbing them and killing them. I'm like, I made it home. I got to stop while I'm ahead. And so I'm like, God, you're going to have to support me. And then I got married immediately. Well, I didn't get married. I got engaged. But it was like, I didn't go back to work. But then a man came and said that he would take care of me. And he did. And I had daddy issues. Matter of fact, I had granddaddy issues because the man was older than my mama and my dad. And so I was comfortable with that because I needed support. I had that abandonment issues and a whole bunch of stuff that I had been pushing under the rug. And eventually it got me to a place where he didn't treat me the way I knew I needed to be treated, but that took me deeper into the Word of God. And so I started to study the Word, and then I started to understand who I was and that God was my Father. See, I learned that when my mother and my father forsake me, the Lord would take me up. That's Psalm 27. And then I found that, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, which means that somebody is going to fearfully and wonderfully love me how I'm made. So I said, I have to love myself enough to just respect myself enough to know I'm not going to get left all night long just because you think I'm a young little stupid girl. You can't do me like that. I ended up leaving, but I still ended up going back to dance. And so when I was dancing the second time, I was dancing as a grown woman. And then the game had evolved and changed. It went downhill. A lot of people doing extra stuff. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? There's a lot of things happening that I was just like, and I'm deeper in the Word. I'm deeply aware of who I was in the spirit. So it was just really not sitting well with me. But at the same time, I had to provide for my son. And I ended up writing a book called Scriptures for Strippers as a result of an assignment from my pastor who said that we need to have a scripture for every area of our life that we are having issues in, because we can only fight the enemy with the Word. And so that was reiteration from my Sunday school that happened in 1992, in the spring of 1992. My Sunday school teacher, I used to keep a journal so I know, she told us that if we don't know the scriptures, the devil can kill us. I made sure I wrote that down. I was like, wow. I need to know the Word. So I was like, Jesus' love. For God so loved the world. Like I was training myself because I didn't want to die. I didn't know, she told us, you don't know what the devil look like. He gonna come and he gonna kill you if you don't know the scripture. So when he came back and said that years later after I'm grown, I said I need to go and really get that Word. The Bible for when I'm feeling weak in my motherhood, when I'm feeling weak in my womanhood, when I'm feeling weak when I'm feeling weak, period. And so that list of scriptures became a book. And that book is now a journal. First it was a blog, it's a website. And now I work at an organization that helps women transition from all different types of things that I've never even done. But because I understand the mentality and I was around it for years, I understand that, Lord, by grace, it could have been me. And see, the thing about it is, I was right there. I was homeless, I was carless, I was jobless, I had nothing too. And when it presented itself to me, I said, wow, I'm really not like that. Because guess what? If I was, this would be the chance to do it. This is what everybody else used for their reason why they got into prostitution. I don't have the same thing, but God showed me, listen, you know too much. You know too much about me to go that way. You know to trust me. You know you better stay outside until I tell you where to live. And he provided for me. And so the thing about rebranding is my house was built on nothing. And I was going to say my word was cornerstone because Jesus is the cornerstone. Once you rebrand and you rebuild, you have to start back at a foundation. And my foundation was Jesus. I had to get back down to Jesus. I had built the art. I had built something on myself. When you live in a life where you can go to work whenever you want to and you get cash in your hand, what can you tell me? Nothing. So guess what? When my life fell apart, all of that fell apart. I had to rebuild it on Jesus. And I had to trust him. And I had to humble. When I tell you humble, the word is humble. Humble yourself or God will humble you. If you don't know how to humble yourself, start looking at yourself like you ain't what God. Listen. We can all give ourselves pats on the back, but we will come out better when we start looking for things that's wrong with us. And we need to figure out what's wrong and rebuild it and let God do it. I'm not gonna take all night. I just want y'all to know that when you rebuild, use Jesus as the cornerstone. The cornerstone holds up two walls. It goes into the corner. So when you build up this wall and that wall, but if you're trying to build it on the foundation, see, everybody's talking about the foundation. We're talking about the cornerstone. We talking about the stone that's gonna build the walls. Because you can have a flat ground, it ain't gonna build nothing to cover you. The wind can come and overtake you. But the thing about it is when we trust in Jesus, first of all, if we don't have a relationship with Jesus, we can't get healing. Because guess what? I turned my back on Jesus. I said, I need God. I don't need a middleman. I need God. But guess what? If you don't have Jesus who died for your sins, and guess what? I was full of and dirty with. I need Jesus. I need Him to redeem me. We can all be redeemed. You can come back from anything. I don't care what you've been in. You can come back from anything. Do not let the devil convince you that you are not able to come home. Amen. Go home, y'all.
Going, gee, here I am again, and maybe that's my path. It doesn't always have to be. When it came to my divorce, I was actually blessed. I really believe that when you're going through something, God sends a sister. And I was born younger sister of Michelle. She had already gone through her divorce by the time I was going through mine. So I was blessed from her experience in that she was able to keep me grounded. And when everyone else, I didn't care what people thought, because as you can hear, that's authentically her. Really, she'll say, be who you are, doesn't matter what people think. So really and truly, I've learned I don't like to look at the person that I was and brand her as horrible, just because I feel like she paid the price for me to be who I am today. And so I look back at her with honor, and I thank her, and I use her strength to become the person I need to be today to get to the next level that I'm trying to go to. One of the things that I wanted to say that allowed me to do that, I'm big on journaling. And what I like about Darlene's journal is that it gives you an opportunity to do that free space journaling. Because when I remember when I was going through my situation, one of the things I look for is I say, why are all these journals either really thick with nothing, no guidance, or why are they filled with words and really only giving me about 4 lines to do? And I really think that journaling helped me to find my North Star. It really allowed me to sit down and compartmentalize my life and say the areas that I need to work on: finances, spirituality, health. I literally wrote all of those out, and I documented where I was and where I was trying to go. And I can tell you, from 2014 on food stamps, trying to find my way, because I had a very big $1 million producing business that halted in 2013 after I left my husband in 2012, to really and truly being in a position today where I can honestly say, if you did it once, you can do it again. And for me, it's really been about honoring who I was. I try not to look at her with shame. I try not to look at her experiences as horrible, because then it will cause me to call her weak, and she wasn't. I couldn't be here if she didn't take everything that she took. So what I want to encourage you to do is to really look at your story, but look at your story based on where you're trying to go. If you color it all gloomy and dark, then you're going to move through with that spirit. But if you say, I'm better, and this is where I am now, and who I was got me to where I am, it's about who I'm today that's going to get me to where I'm going to go. When you're rebranding yourself, I want to tell you that a big part of it is documenting. Pay attention. A lot of times I go back and I read it and I'm like, wow, Little things like, you talk about solitude, self-esteem is built in solitude. And a lot of times we're so afraid to do it. Sisterhood, huge for me. I really tell people every day, find a sister. Just find a sister. I surround myself with sisters. We have a wonderful group called Level Up, and I can't tell you how many times just coming on that call and being able to have a set of sisters who I can say, these are my challenges, and know that if something is happening, they're praying for me and they have me. Sisterhood is so important. So, and reading. I read a lot. I turn my car into a mobile library by listening to audiobooks. I'm reading, and I've taught that to my children as well. So in rebranding, I'll say really just, can I say, okay, so the one word she asked for us to use, I honestly use the word bad A-double snakes for myself. I really believe that is who I have become, because I look at challenges and I go into it saying I'm a woman, and as long as I'm blessed to be one of the human beings on this earth, no life can come through but through us. Nah, I'm bad.
I need to try and as I sit here, those of you who know me, as it comes to me, we really need to do something again. We really need to do something again. How many of you ladies would want to continue this kind of conversation? We need to do this again. Where we come together as women, and a lot of times we don't really listen to each other. We're so busy going through our own things that we don't take the time to hear that, and then you hear your story. I know many of you heard your own story up there, and you're like, wow, I thought that was just me, and she talking about me. That's my life she's talking about. So I just really want to thank you ladies tonight. Like, so I wish we had more time. I really want to thank you because each of you brought something to this atmosphere, to this room tonight. You bless these ladies on here. Ladies, am I right? And I didn't want to tell the ladies, for those of you who saw my post, I didn't want to say, oh, domestic violence or name those things. I said, as long as you have a challenge, I'm sorry, she's taking my baby, and I'm like, huh? As long as you can leave her, you can leave Tiara. I'm sorry, y'all. That's one of the things too. When you were talking about the daughter, I want my daughters to see what I do. My oldest is about to be 20, and she's away at college. I wanted to know what mommy does, and I wanted to be that strong woman. I wanted to see me strong. We're not just living our lives for ourselves. We're thinking like a lot of times, like you stay in something for them, but then what do they do when it's their turn? And as mothers, we be like, why are you in that? Even when they want a boyfriend, why are you staying in that? Because they saw you do it. That's what you taught them. Even when our boys see. Right, they emulate it. So I hope that tonight really, really helps some ladies. I'll take 2 quick questions, because what time is it? Anybody have any?
10:57.
Okay, anybody got any questions?
What time? 10:57.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Even the gentlemen in the room?
I've known you for a while, and some of the people as well. I was telling Jasmine earlier today, the devil tried to stop me from coming. I've been dealing with a whole lot, and each and every person that said something today, I've dealt with something from just myself.
Wow.
Everybody.
Wow.
And me being here has given me the strength, has given me the confidence to keep going. They know some of what I've been through, and I'm glad I came. This year.
That's right.
So one of the things that I said I would tell you about tonight, and I have really been pushing against doing this. Because I'm like, God, I already wrote 2 books. Like, can you leave me alone now? Can I just I wrote these books in November and December, back to back. And it's taking me this long. Most people are gung-ho about doing their launch, darling, didn't really want to do it. Because I don't see myself where other people see me. Like Bishop Jake said, people see the gift in you before you see yourself. So one of the things that I have been led to do, and I'm going to do this for the divorced moms too, and that was the first thing that God said, no, you need to do a rebranding my life, you know what I'm going to say, compilation book. There are some ladies in this room who have said, or you felt, or God told you that you need to write a book, but you said, I'm afraid to do it on my own. Here is your opportunity to write